Good evening and welcome to a very special, this isn't even a show, Jesse. This is a chat session because you are doing something really exciting. You are signing copies of your brand new book. You're an author now, which I think I speak for many of us. We find this a little hard to believe, but there it is. Your book is your book is out. Huge congratulations. You're blowing up the charts. I've already seen it. So let's start with telling people what's going to happen tonight. So what we're going to do is you're going to sign books for people who have bought this book or bought the special signature version of this book. Anybody who hasn't, who's joining us, can go to premiercollectibles.com/Jesse Kelly. You can see it on the bottom of the screen. You can get your signed copy. And while Jesse signs these books, we're going to chat. We're not going to chat in the way that we often do on the show about like the hot topics of political happenings. We're going to talk about, different things. Some of your questions that you've submitted, we're going to answer. We're going to talk about a little, maybe more personal questions, I guess you could say, not necessarily political analysis. And, we're really delighted that you're all here to hang out with us. So, Jesse, how's the launch of this book been going?
It's a little bit unreal, Liz, and I'll be honest with you. It says a lot that all my friends like you and family members, they all have said the same thing. I can't believe you wrote a book. And then everyone follows that up with, I can't believe it's doing well. And I cannot believe this, Liz. I can't believe, last I looked right before this event started, it was number 4 on the new release list already. That's up there with fiction books and kids books and stuff like that. I have no idea why there's such an appetite for this, but I'm glad because it was something I felt passionate about. I don't know that I'll ever write another one, but this is one I wanted to write. And here we are, and I'm glad people are enjoying it. People are reading it all the first day. I'm already getting all these messages from people. They finished it in one day. That's amazing to me.
I haven't actually fully finished it, so I guess those people are ahead of me, but I have started reading it. And listen, I make fun of you a little bit, a little gentle teasing here, but really, you come off as a joker, but you're not. I call you a closet intellectual. I'm not surprised that you actually produced this masterpiece of a book. I highly recommend it. And of course, people who are watching this know that you know what you're talking about. It's a really phenomenal book. It's really good. I would hold it up and show it for promotion because you were kind enough to send me a free copy of it. But my father-in-law was at my house today and I forgot we were doing this and he was so excited to see the book. I was like, oh yeah, you can have it. You can read it. So I don't have it.
It's okay. It's okay, Liz. I have a fat stack beside me to hold up that I'm going to be signing throughout. And by the way, when I'm looking down, when Liz is talking, I'm listening to her. I'm just signing. I have a Sharpie here and I have a huge stack of books. Unbelievably that we had ordered so many books that we were going to sign and they sold out on the first day and we had to double the order and order more. So for some reason, y'all like it. So we're going to do it and I think we'll have fun tonight.
And you know what? You know the rules of the game is if you mess up your signature or if you misspell somebody's name when you're writing the inscription to them, then you have to tell us because that makes it a collectible copy of it because it's a limited edition if your name's misspelled. So you have to make sure to tattle on yourself if that's the case. Okay, so let's get to this. You start signing books because I know you have a million to sign. Yeah. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to dig into some of these questions that were submitted by you guys. A lot of you bought the books and submitted questions. Some of these, I did read these before we got on air, Jesse. These are really funny, really good questions. So let's start with question from Luke. Luke is from Oklahoma, and he says, Jesse, what are some of the best underrated candy bars? We all know of the heavyweights like Snickers and Fast Break and maybe Hershey's Cookies and Cream, but the forgotten candy bars, much like your receding hairline, get no good press. What is
One, that's not very nice. 2, I understand it's receding, okay? I'm 41. I'm a Kelly. My dad lost his hair. His dad lost his hair. I've honestly bought more years than I should. It's going backwards and it's thinning. Now I'll get sunburns on top of my head if I go outside. Who gets sunburns through their hair? That's how thin it is. Liz, you wouldn't know that with that gigantic thick head of hair you have. But with me, I have to I have to wear a hat. Now, anyway, that's 1. 2, no one talks about this candy bar. And of course, this guy didn't either. The whatchamacallit. Whatchamacallit is the best. It's not underrated. It's the best of the candy bars, and people don't even know about it. How do people not know about it? And it's always featured. It jumps right off the shelf at me, but people, these peasants, they don't understand how to eat like the menu whisperer does.
I've never even heard of it, Jesse. I think you might be making it up.
Liz, whoa. Liz, you're one of these health freaks, all right? But I'm married to somebody like this too. You probably haven't had candy since you were 4. we're not talking about you. We're talking about the rest of us who can walk in a gas station and find something that isn't non-GMO or whatever it is that you happen to eat. The rest of us like to eat junk food every now and then, Liz. You don't even know what junk food tastes like.
Excuse me, I have eaten, it wasn't 2 years old that I gave up candy. I ate candy, the last time I ate candy, I was about 17, so.
Oh yeah, well, never mind.
Yeah, so I told you then. Okay, next question is from Andrew, who lives in Brighton, Colorado. Andrew says, I've heard you say you like a glass of Jim Beam when watching documentaries. Just wondering what other whiskey you like to drink if you don't have any Beam handy, but feel like it's a whiskey night.
Well, everyone has to remember something, that while I am obviously a world-renowned author now, I am also white trash. I can't change what I am. I have no college education. I grew up hunting and fishing. I'm from a construction family. So yes, I enjoy drinking Jim Beam. I don't drink much anymore. Just I'm getting older. It's just the way it's got to be. You got to clean up and grow up every now and then. I still do from time to time. I normally have Jim Beam, but that said, as part of being white trash like I am, I'm also not particular. I'll be at a party, or a buddy will come over for an event and he'll bring something obviously fancy, and I'll drink that too, and that's fine. I'm not one of these people, Liz. While I am, as everyone knows, I have top tier food taste. Everyone really knows, except for you, Liz. But I don't think that applies to things I drink. Like coffee, for instance, almost everyone I know will talk about, oh, that's a good cup of coffee. They'll sip on something and they'll say, oh, that's good coffee. Or they'll drink something and say, oh, man, that's bad coffee. I've never tasted the difference in a cup of coffee in my life. If I have someone's fancy French press or something at their house, or I have 7-Eleven coffee, it all tastes the same to me. I have no idea why. I think people are lying, mainly. A lot of people lie.
Guys, I'm pretty sure he's setting us up to tell us that he actually prefers PBRs. I'm pretty sure that's where he's going. I can't predict the future, but that's what it sounds like to me. Have you signed a single book yet?
Yes, I'm signing. I'm signing now. Maybe if you'd quit distracting me by asking me questions.
Oh, this is a good question. This is a very good question. I'm interested in the answer to this too. This question's from Thomas, who is a fellow Texan, lives in Scurry, Texas, who says, who is your favorite president of all time?
Oh, man, I don't really like any of them besides Washington, to be honest with you. Calvin Coolidge was a stud. Andrew Jackson, I love Andrew Jackson, but I really love Andrew Jackson for most everything pre-president. He was okay as a president, but pre-president, same thing with Teddy Roosevelt. I actually hate Teddy Roosevelt's politics, all that kind of big government crap he brought in, but Teddy Roosevelt was a stud. So I don't know if this counts because I don't like many of them once they take over the office of the presidency. Look, JFK is honestly the same thing. He was an okay president for a short while. I think he lived a pretty cool life before being a president. I think that war hero stuff, that's cool stuff. Andrew Jackson, I would say, probably Andrew Jackson. I'm sure that'll be very popular, but Andrew Jackson for sure, underrated human being in American history.
Yeah, you guys, you can tweet it, Jesse, if you think he's wrong about this. I mean, I'm actually always interested in who people's favorite presidents are, so I find that very interesting. James from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Where is Eden Prairie? I actually don't know where that is on the map in Minnesota. Says, other than watching the Dukes of Hazzard, what did little Jesse like to do for fun? Did he play with toys like G.I. Joes and Transformers, or maybe Barbie dolls?
Actually, boy, this is all right. I'm sorry. I can't believe I'm going to admit this. People are watching the live signing. You might as well get some raw honesty here. One, I was a toy gun freak, unsurprising to everybody. That was back when we were allowed to have cool toy guns. I was always into guns. I was always out in the woods, always pretending to shoot somebody and hunting Indians or hunting cowboys, depending on what we were doing, or local. So I was always doing that. But if it was toy time, I was a G.I. Joe nut. And I think there's something wrong with me. Everyone probably agrees with that. But I didn't need a bunch of G.I. Joe setups like the little cars and things like that. I would just have one G.I. Joe figure, and I could sit there by myself for hours and play with the one G.I. Joe figure and just do the rest of it in my imagination. I know that's weird and that's probably wrong. And I loved Transformers, but I was oftentimes too stupid to figure out how to put the animal back together and make it into the machine. So those Transformers would get set aside. but I have an older sister. And when I was very, very, I bet nobody was expecting that kind of stuff from the live signing tonight.
Well, I'm going to take the liberty in asking a follow-up then, given that this is pretty groundbreaking information. Will you be watching the new Barbie and Ken movie?
No, Liz, for your information, no. We don't do we don't do very many movies in the Kelly household, period, but I wouldn't do that one anyway. Everything's always, gay filth now. That's what everything is now.
Okay, so this is actually also a follow-up, but maybe an unintentional follow-up to you talking about the fact that you liked toy guns. Steve from Lemon Grove, California says, being that I'm in communist California and can't escape until I retire, so I can't carry, what gun do you find yourself carrying most often? And do you have an optic on it?
I have a Glock 19, and I don't have an optic, but I need to clarify a couple things. One, I'm not telling everyone else to buy a Glock 19. There are a couple things about me that make me particular for a Glock 19. As I've already pointed out, I'm a white trash human being. I'm a very simple man. I still eat at Red Lobster all the time. It's my favorite restaurant in the world. I love simplicity and reliability. That's what I love. I don't like fancy things, fancy cars, I don't know how to dress. I put on a t-shirt. I believe in what shoots every single time. I want the gun that I can throw off a building or in the bottom of a pool, and it'll shoot every time. I know there are more accurate and better weapons. I like a Glock 19 because it's Mr. Reliable, and that's the same reason I don't have an optic on there. When I was in the Marines, we learned without optics. I never had an optic in my entire time in the Marines. I understand they've changed that now, but I'm dead set against optics because I never learned on one. So no optic in a boring Glock 19. I know people have all these fancy, expensive ones, but that's not who I am. I have a Glock 19. In fact, it's sitting about 2 feet away right now.
Yeah, actually, I have a Glock 19 and I like it too. So that'll be interesting to see what other people have. You can tweet to Jesse. Don't forget, if you haven't gotten Jesse to sign one of your books, and we're working hard on getting him to sign, but I've seen his hands up a lot. I don't know how much signing he's doing. Go to premiercollectibles.com/Jesse Kelly and get your copy of the book. This question is from Lindsay in Florida. She says, "Hi Jesse, what is your favorite ice cream flavor?"
I'm a chocolate peanut butter freak. Like the candy bars we were talking about earlier, I brought up whatchamacallits. It's really chocolatey and peanutty, but I love a Reese's. I love a Butterfinger. I'm really a peanut butter freak more than a chocolate freak. I would eat peanut butter over chocolate all day long. To this day, I'll walk to the pantry and just get a big old scoop full of peanut butter and walk around the house just gnawing on the thing. So what, Liz? It's fine. I'm sorry. It's not vegan peanut butter or whatever it is, but it's delicious. So I love chocolate. I love chocolate peanut butter ice cream. Is it really? I didn't know that was part of the Liz Wheeler health freak diet.
No, I mean, you're basically just saying that you like to eat vegan snacks if you walk around just eating plain peanut butter. Jesse's a vegan. That's what I'm hearing. You said it, not me. Okay, Brad from New Hampshire. I don't know if this is a trick question or what. Let me read this correctly. If a rooster lays an egg on the peak of a roof, will the egg roll to the east or to the west?
Liz, roosters don't lay eggs. Yes, it's a trick question. Hens lay eggs. Gosh, Liz, have you never spent any time on a farm? My grandpa was a farmer, God rest his soul, Grandpa Hank. So I've spent enough time on a farm and in Montana to know roosters don't lay eggs, Liz.
Excuse me, I'm a chicken owner. I own 7 chickens. They're in a chicken coop outside right now.
Hold on, whoa, pause real quick. I know you're supposed to be interviewing me. This is just really quick. I'm going to let you get back to the questions. The wife wants chickens. I don't want to clean up poop. Isn't there a lot of poop?
There's so much poop. And when I say I'm a chicken owner, it's actually a little misleading. That's a little misrepresentative. I do not take care of the chickens at all. They're my husband's chickens. And that was part of the deal for him getting them, is that I will only participate in naming the chickens and not getting them. But I don't know. You guys are going to have to hash that out in the Kelly household. We've been a chicken owner for approximately 3 days, and they've already pooped in their water and in their food every single day. So that's my endorsement.
It's already been hashed out, Liz. I ain't cleaning up poop, so if they want chickens, they can have at it. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so Greg, this is actually the question that I was waiting for the whole time. Greg from New York says, who is the most dangerous communist in the Democrat Party?
Whew. Probably Susan Rice. Susan Rice is one of these people who probably should be, yeah, I know you know, Liz, one of these people who should be a household name. Like Barack Obama, don't get me wrong, he was an America-hating piece of trash, but Barack Obama had some real nasty communists. All three women, by the way. I forget all three of their names right now off the top of my head, but Susan Rice was one of them. And he spoke often how he leaned on them for virtually everything. And then Susan Rice went, of course, Valerie Jarrett was one of them. Of course, that's another one. But Susan Rice moved right into the Biden administration, too. And in fact, from my sources tell me she has a heavy thumb on everything you see now. Susan Rice has done as much damage as probably anyone that nobody's ever heard of. Most normie norms don't even know who Susan Rice is. That's really an America-hating, bad person, for sure.
That's an interesting answer. That's a good one. That's not what I expected you to say, but I think that you might be correct on that. Some biographical questions. Jesse, you live in Texas now. Where were you born?
I was born in Ohio, Steubenville, Ohio, right down on the southeast corner, right down on the Ohio River. It's right by a tiny town called Toronto, Ohio, and that's actually where I live. The hospital was in Steubenville. I was born in Toronto. Like I said, we're a construction family, the definition of Rust Belt, if you ever saw Toronto. And then we moved to Montana when I was 10. My old man moved out there to do construction out there and hunting and fishing. So it's Ohio and Montana. But then I never went back to Montana after I joined the Marines. So I don't know that I'm from anywhere. I don't know that it counts as me being from anywhere because it was Marines and then it was Arizona. And then I lived in D.C. for a year. Then I moved to Dallas for a few years. Now I'm in Houston. I probably won't be here forever. I don't know that I'm from anywhere. I'm a vagabond, Liz. I'm a rambling man, as the Allman Brothers and I have always said.
I'm actually familiar with your description of Ohio because I was also born in Ohio. Maybe we already covered this question with the chicken poop, but what chore do you hate doing the most?
What chore do I hate doing the most? Actually I have good news on this. My least favorite chore is changing the air conditioning filters because not all of us are 4 feet tall like Liz. I'm 6'8". And when I have to go up into the attic to change the air conditioning filters, and I live in Houston, Texas, which is right near the surface of the sun. So it's 95 degrees and it's 10,000% humidity. And if you have to go up into the attic for half a second, you need a shower. It's dripping off your nose. It's just disgusting. So I hate changing the air conditioning filters because I have an attic too where I can't stand up. It's a 5-foot attic. I think it's about 5 foot. So I can't stand up and even bend over. I have to kind of crawl on my hands and knees through the attic like I'm low crawling in the Marines again. But now my sons are 12 and 14. And their whole lives, they wanted to go up in the attic with dad because the attic is scary and forbidden and stuff like that. And so their whole lives, they've watched me change filters. Then that slowly morphed into them helping me change filters. Now the boys are old enough to do it all on their own. Now dad picks up the filters and pays for the filters. And I come home and I say, boys! And I drop the filters in front of them and I say, you know what time it is, and I move on away and do whatever it is I want to do while they go upstairs and sweat in the attic. It's fantastic.
How often does that have to be done?
Once every 3 months. Once every 3 months. We get the filters once every 3 months. But look, it's never anything you're going to have to deal with, Liz. This is not a woman's job. It's man's work. So now it's the boys' work.
I would never do something like that, but that's exactly how you parent right there. That's exactly how you parent. Who makes you laugh? Who makes you laugh the most in your life?
Oh, my wife. My wife, she's terrible to me. I'm so kind to her, but she's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Just giving me crap about everything. So everyone knows that I'm the menu whisperer, right? I'm the greatest. What that means is I'm the greatest orderer of food that there's ever been. I'm definitely the greatest one alive today. I can sit down in any restaurant. I don't even ever have to have been there before. And I look at a menu and it just makes sense to me. I can immediately pick out the things that are good and the things that aren't good. And people think I'm doing a radio bit or a TV bit or a world famous author bit when I do that. But I'm telling you, it's real. And time after time, we've gone out to dinner with friends, and everyone will say, "Oh, I should have got what you got. Oh, dang, I should have got what you got." And I'll tell people now, why don't you just order what I order? Just trust me, whatever I get, that's what you should get. Trust, and they think I'm being a just cocky jerk when I'm trying to be helpful, but they don't. And then I get my food and theirs sucks and mine's good. So anyway, I'm the menu whisperer. It was last weekend. Me and the wife went to breakfast, and we were out ordering breakfast, and they messed up my order. And I can't possibly stress this enough. They messed up my order. I've been to this restaurant before. I knew what to order. They messed up the order. They didn't give me the over easy eggs. They made them over hard. So I didn't have the yolk to mix in with my hash browns. I don't want to go into the whole details of it. It was too traumatic to relive again. But she sat there smirking the whole time. "Oh, didn't get the right thing, menu whisperer? Sorry about that, menu whisperer. Sorry that didn't work out for you." It was really disrespectful, Liz. I didn't appreciate it at all.
Well, it sounds to me like you've been a published author for one day and you're already a diva at restaurants. So make of that what you will, my friends who are watching this. Okay, Dodie has the next question. Dodie is from Albertville, Alabama. And Dodie says, did you send a copy of the book to the White House?
No, but that's actually a really good idea. I guess everyone knows the address. The problem is, though, with that, send something to your congressman or send something to the White House, is for understandable reasons. These things, whatever you send to a congressional office or the White House, goes through more layers of security than you can possibly imagine. And honestly, it has to be that way because there's so many nutballs out there that would send something truly terrible. So I would do it if I thought there was a chance anyone even close to Joe Biden could get their hands on it. But there's no chance of that. So I'm not wasting this masterpiece of humanity, Liz, the eighth wonder of the world. I'm not wasting that on Joe Biden and his mail team in the White House.
I think the only way that it would be effective is if a whole bunch of people bought these books and inundated the White House with them. Because you do hear once in a while about people selling a load of pens because they support a certain bill. Or I think the left, the pro-abortion people sent a load of coat hangers to Susan Collins in Maine. So everybody watching this would have to buy 100 of these, and we'd have to send 1,000 to the White House for it to make a difference.
Yeah, I agree. It would have to be something overwhelming. And look, I'm thrilled people are buying the book. I'm thrilled with the sales, don't get me wrong, but we're in a recession or going into one. It's asking a lot to ask someone to pay $26, $27 for a book just to send it off as a statement to the White House. You're probably better off hanging on to it, hand it to your normie neighbor who doesn't know anything. That's probably a better use of this masterpiece, Liz.
Yes, agreed. Although it still would be funny to see a whole wheelbarrow full of them coming up to the White House. Russell is from Morristown, Tennessee, says, Jesse, how come you are not coming anywhere near Tennessee for your book tour?
All right. Now, let's clarify this here. Hold on. Let me sign this book. So I have a book tour starting on Saturday. Saturday, I'm going to be in Houston, the Houston area. Monday, I'm going to be in Salt Lake City, the area. Wednesday, I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And then Thursday, I'm in Tampa, Florida. All the details of where the specific locations and where to buy tickets for it, even though you don't have to, you probably should to buy tickets for it. All that's at jessekellybook.com if you want to know the details. And since I put out the information on the book tour, I've been flooded with things exactly like that. Why aren't you coming to Tennessee? Why aren't you coming to Minnesota?
There are 5 or 6 of those questions on here.
Oh, I'm sure. I know there are. I know there are, because you should see my emails, Liz. How can you not even come to California? Jesse, you were born in Ohio. Everybody. And listen, I'm flattered. I really am. And I would come everywhere. But remember, I have a wife and kids and a mortgage and 2 jobs. I have a radio show and a TV show I do every single night. As much as I would love to just book tour like I'm the Rolling Stones for the next year, we'll be in Amsterdam tomorrow. I have to come back home. I have duties. I have a job. I miss my kids. I miss my family. Now, that said, I will say this for everybody asking, why aren't you coming here? Why aren't you coming there? It really has been like nothing I ever expected, nothing like the publisher, Simon & Schuster, God bless them, nothing like anyone ever expected over the last few days. Selling out of all the signed copies the first day, that's not supposed to happen. What I'm saying is the book has gotten big enough. There's a chance, no promises, that there will be a book tour number 2. So if you want me to come to your place, rest easy. There's a chance I may be coming anyway because book tour number 2 might be on the agenda.
So what I'm hearing you say is that if people continue to nag you, that it will be effective and that you will come and do an event nearby. So that's if you can get away from your future chickens.
No, not only that, I didn't do any of the details on the book tour. I would not, I don't have time and I don't have the know-how because like I said, I do radio. Every book tour spot had to be close to a radio affiliate so I can check in with the affiliate and say hi and then do my show from the affiliate. And so there were 8 million people involved in laying out the book tour and I wasn't one of them. So none of this is my fault. None of it's my fault. I'm washing my hands of it.
My suggestion for everyone watching would be keep your fingers crossed and hope that he will come to a city near you. But in the meantime, you should probably just go ahead and buy a copy of the book now. Don't hold your breath for him to go on his world tour. Go to premiercollectibles.com/Jesse Kelly. We did just make an order for a second batch of these books because he has sold out the entire signed batch. That's a lot of books, by the way. I don't know. This is just a little behind the scenes information. There are a lot of books that are bought for this Premier Collectibles signing event. It is pretty impressive, Jesse, that you sold out the first batch.
Yeah, in one day. I can't believe it, Liz. Honestly, I can't believe it. And everything else aside, thank you to everybody. And look, if you go to premiercollectibles.com/Jesse, or is it /Jesse Kelly, Liz? /Jesse Kelly? premiercollectibles.com/Jesse Kelly. If you go there and you get one, I'm getting you a signed copy. All right, they just ordered another big batch. I'm getting it. My friggin' hand is about to fall off. So I signed 500 of these actually today. But I'm getting one. If you take the time and do it, I'll do it. And I am grateful. I really am. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.
And if he messes up his signature, then you have a collectible copy that's worth a little bit more. This is from Beverly, who lives in Sunnyvale, California. She said, I am continually amazed that your thoughts on our government seem to be completely correct. Do you come to the conclusions in this book while reading lots of history books? Thank you for your response.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess I'm not sure how to answer that question. I have always loved history and I've always loved studying people. Now, I don't mean like creepy ways, like staring at people. I mean, just trying to understand people, the way they think and what motivates them. That in the history part of it, that's why there's so much history in the book, tying the history of communism, communist atrocities, making that direct connection to what we see today. History, I love history because it tells me the future. Now, it's not that history will repeat identically. That doesn't happen because human beings change. But when I warn people of things and then those things come true, people will always come and you have to love the flattery. Wow, you called it. No one else did. I didn't do anything special. I looked at what history told me was coming. History tells you what's coming. They tell you every single time. It's just human nature is avoiding the reality, especially when reality is ugly, avoiding that ugly reality until it's too late. We all do it. We all do it. Oh man, I'm out of shape. Oh, I'm out of shape. Wow, I walked down the hall and I'm out of breath. That's probably bad. I should probably get in shape. Don't make any changes until boom, you have a heart attack. Then you wake up in the hospital and say, oh my gosh, how to let this happen? That's human nature. We avoid the ugly truths of life until we have no other choice. I do the same thing. I'm just as guilty as everyone else.
Yeah, observation goes a long way, and observation might be a lost art. All right, let me look at some more of these questions. There are like probably 5 or 10 of them about different cities. I'm not trying to skip your guys' questions if you asked whether Jesse's going to be in a certain city or a certain state, but I think his answer from before condensed it all, and you can go to jessekellybook.com to see exactly where he'll be and when. John from Ackworth, I'm not sure how to pronounce that actually, in Georgia, says, what has been the greatest challenge in moving to this career of world famous author, radio, and TV host?
Great. I don't have challenges, man. People have real jobs out there. I've worked real jobs my whole life. I started this media career 5 years ago, basically by accident. I mean, I lucked into all this stuff. This isn't a job. I have a freaking polo shirt on that my wife bought me at the beach the other day. I'm sitting here in jeans, just gabbing with my friend Liz Wheeler for 45 minutes on TV. That's not a job. Right now, someone's going to their double shift right now, trying to make ends meet. I don't have a job anymore. I don't even have a job. I don't have challenges like that. I will say, for me, one of my biggest concerns with it is I've seen time and time again, especially now that I'm in this industry, I've seen how any level of fame, is that kind of vulgar to say that, how fame or whatnot, how it negatively affects people. And that's probably my biggest concern for myself. It's not healthy for the human mind. Jesse, you're the best. Jesse, I love you. Jesse, can I have a picture? I think that's really, really harmful. That's why so many famous people lose their minds. And I know so many, I know you do too, Liz, people in this business who have heard that way too many times, how great they are. And now they believe how great they are and they treat everyone around them like crap. The second the camera's off, the staff gets treated like crap. And they're better than everybody. That worries me, because as much as you try to fight against that, maybe you can't, right? So I worry that may happen to me one day. Who knows, but I hope not.
I think I can safely say that we'll never let that happen to you. If you start getting an inflated ego, then I'll make you cry using only my words.
I know you will. I know you. Well, that's why you have to have friends like Liz.
That's like my most aggressive threat, Jesse.
I'm signing, Liz. I'm signing.
Brian, this is a funny question. Oh, good. He's signing.
I'm signing.
Brian from Woodruff, Wisconsin says, every great athlete exercises and warms up before the big event. What have you been doing to condition your arm to sign all these books, to build up your strength and stamina?
You know, I have a lifetime of making sure my arms are ready to go to sign as many books as humanly possible. Actually, let me pause on that for a second. Back to the challenge question. I actually think I do have something there. There's something when you start doing media, radio and TV and stuff like that. I think I have a better answer than I had before. When you start doing radio and TV stuff, you always have to keep in mind that things that are hobbies for other people are your career, and your career is a hobby for other people. And maybe this is kind of the same answer I already gave, but it's, you will speak about things, you can speak about things impersonally. Like if inflation numbers come out tomorrow and the official numbers come out, and I'll sit down on my TV show, my radio show, and I'll sit down and well, inflation's at 8.6%. And you can get impersonal with that when everyone already knew inflation was at 8.6% because they're out there not able to afford freaking eggs in the grocery store. Their wives, I mean, a friend of mine, his wife texted him crying from the grocery store. She couldn't buy no more ground beef that week. She was going to buy their ground beef for the week, and she couldn't afford it. And I think we can lose sight of that sometimes when you sit down and do politics, if we want to call it that, for a job. That's a challenge. I have to make sure I always remember that it's not a headline. That's someone's life. You know, it's not if we're talking about the child transgender stuff. Okay, we can get outraged, and I am outraged and things like that, but that's a kid, man. That's a human being whose life is destroyed. And that's a challenge. You have to make sure you always keep that in mind, I think.
Yeah, this is actually what I was talking about before when I say you present yourself as a joker oftentimes, but you're not. You're very thoughtful, you're very insightful, you're very philosophical about what you do. And I'm not just here to help you sell your books. Like, I'm here because we're so busy. This is when we hang out. This is how we chat. But this is a perfect endorsement for your book. It really is. So if you haven't gotten it, go to premiercollectibles.com/Jesse Kelly. Okay, this one I suspect is an inside joke that I don't understand from one of your friends. So let me read it to you word for word. Oh yeah, look how scared he is. He doesn't know what you guys are posting. This is from Carrie, who lives in Penrose, Colorado, and maybe that in and of itself gives it away. If you were yogurt, would you be fruit at the bottom or stirred? And then what, Chris?
Okay. All right.
You know
well,
who this is?
What Chris, I don't know who Carrie is, but Carrie most definitely listens to the radio show. On my radio show, my producer, he's Jewish producer, Chris. He's one of these goody two-shoes types who loves to follow the rules. And I'm always saying inappropriate things and breaking, even though my show's kid-friendly, by the way, always family-friendly, always will be. I'm always saying things that probably dance with the edge of what you're allowed to say. And Chris will cringe in the background. And I find myself yelling, "What, Chris?" at him several times during the show. So that's what that part is, the inside joke. As far as the yogurt goes, I am the fruit mixed in. And this is why. My mom used to always buy me when I was a kid. I found out it's not called Yo Plate when I was an adult. I guess the T's silent, but I always called it Yo Plate because, like I said, I'm white trash. She used to buy me the Yo Plate yogurts that were always mixed up, and the strawberry ones were my favorites. And every now and then, they'd have a special at the grocery store. The Dannon ones were on sale. I don't even know if Dannon still exists, but they were Dannon ones on sale, and they had all the yogurt on top, and then all the fruit was on the bottom, and they were never as good, Liz. It didn't matter how much you mixed all that fruit up. They were never as good as the Yo Plate. And that, look, you know what? Actually, that brings me back to something else. A little pointer for everybody, a little Jesse Kelly white trash pointer. When you make yourself a hot sandwich at home, burger, whatever kind it may be, don't eat it right away. When you take your burger out of the heating source, put it in foil, wrap it, give it 5 minutes. Let those flavors get to know each other. 5 minutes. Look, they don't know each other yet. Let them get to know each other. And then party in your mouth. Anyway, go ahead, Liz.
I'm sorry, I stopped listening halfway through that story. Jesse, talking about. Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking through these questions. I'm sure it was a good story. Story. Yeah, sure. Okay. Do you have any hidden talents? That's the next question.
No, I actually have very few talents whatsoever. And people think I'm joking when I say that, but I really don't. I'm not very good at very much. I played sports forever, but I sucked. I was too slow and uncoordinated. I played baseball. I played basketball. I was an average Marine. I wasn't a bad one. I certainly wasn't a good one. I was an average Marine. I was a pretty good RV salesman. I can't draw. I can't sing. I can't dance. I can't play an instrument. The wife won't even dance with me anymore. She says I try to lead and I don't know what I'm doing, and therefore it's like dancing with the grizzly bear. That's what she says. It's like dancing with a grizzly bear. So I can't do that either. I don't have that many skills at all. I'm not bad at the radio thing, I guess, according to how that's going, and TV's going pretty well. And look, maybe I'm an author, but I don't think I'm that either. I think I just wrote one good one, and that'll probably have to do.
Well, I certainly hope that this little monologue wasn't on your dating profile before your first date with your wife, because that's a ringing endorsement. This is a good question. This is an interesting question.
I'm a napper. I forgot. On top of being the menu whisperer, I'm one of the top 5 nappers on the planet. I might be the best napper on the planet, but I'm incredible. And when I say incredible, Liz, I really mean this. And people think I'm over-exaggerating. I swear on my life I'm not. So I have this huge table here in front of me. If this show cut off right now and they told me, hey, we're sorry, we're off the air, we'll be back in a half hour or something like that, and I didn't have any other options, I could crawl onto this table right now and take a couple anti-communist manifestos and put them under the back of my head, and I would be out in 5 minutes. And I would wake up in 20, 30 minutes, totally refreshed. One time flying back from Vegas, I went to Dunkin' Donuts in the airport, and I got one of the big black cups of coffee. I sit down, large coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, hammer the whole thing. Sit down on the plane. I polish off the last of my cup of Dunkin' Donuts black coffee, hand it to the stewardess on the way by, lay my head back, boom. Next thing you know, we have landed back in my hometown 2-3 hours later, gone like that on the plane. My wife hates me for it. It's awesome.
That's what I was going to check. That was my challenge. I was going to say, well, you say you're the best napper. Can you nap on airplanes? Because I feel that's the real test.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
No,
I don't nap, Liz. I sleep. You sleep. Oh, wow. Okay. What is your biggest pet peeve? Oh, I'm so mean that there are a lot. If I hold a door open for somebody, or my sons do, because I've taught my sons to hold doors open for people, especially women and old people, and my sons don't get a thank you, or I don't get a thank you, I'm going to say you're welcome. And it's going to be loud, and it's going to make you uncomfortable. If I stop the car, which I do every single time when there's a pedestrian crossing, I believe in stopping, let people go. And instead of you giving me a nod or a wave and picking up the pace a little bit, If instead I get you mean mugging me as you stroll across, you better hope I'm not having a bad day, or I might just mow you right down there on the sidewalk. Little things like that. People who leave the grocery cart out instead of putting it back in the cart thing. One of the most selfish things in the world. Now, someone else has to put that thing back or it's going to roll into somebody's car. People who drive slow in the left lane. There's a rearview mirror right there, right there. If you look behind you and you're in the left lane and there are 5 cars behind you, you know you're a jerk, right? You're a selfish, inconsiderate jerk. Pull over so the faster cars can go by. There's probably more, but that's all I can think of right now.
Okay, wow, that was that's quite a list there. Quite a list. Who is the most interesting person that you have recently met? But before you answer that question, can you actually show us what your signature looks like on this book for anybody that might have purchased one of these books or is going to purchase one of the books? They want to see what it looks like.
No, I don't want to show you, Liz, because you're going to make fun of me. I'm not worried about them. You're going to make fun of me. Okay, now I need to clarify before
It's your signature. It's part of the essence of who you are. I will applaud. I can't see it. Turn it. Put it towards the middle. Oh, I see it. Oh, well, I can't go back on my promise, and that's too bad because I had a funny comment.
Liz, okay. I don't have a great signature. Again, I don't want to pass everything off on my parents because that's kind of weak when people do that. That's John Hancock compared to my dad's. You should see my dad's. It's not even anything. I don't even know what it is. That at least looks like a J. That's more than you get out of my dad.
Is there a K that goes with it, though? Is it just a J and a line?
Liz, when you're an author, all right, when you're a world famous author, the signature really becomes whatever you want it to be. It's not about what I write down, Liz. It's about what's in my heart.
Oh my. Well, it's hard to know how to segue away from that one. Do you have any? Well, that's not a good one. Okay, do you have any pets? And if so, what are their names?
I feel like everything is just something that's going to get me made fun of. Okay, so my son, my oldest son.
Do you want me to be nicer? Do you want me to be nicer?
No, I'm used to this, Liz. My audience is ruthless with me. Ruthless. Even though I'm so kind and sweet, they're just miserable.
I feel like I'm being pretty nice.
Oh, you are, especially for you. No, you're being great. No, my oldest son he has a pet allergy, meaning allergic to hair. It used to be real bad when he was younger, especially if he got around horses or something like that. His throat would close up a little. It's kind of gone away, but he'll still get a little light rash that kind of itches him if he's around hair. But they're boys. I have 2 boys. Boys love dogs. They just live and die for dogs. They want a dog. We wanted to get him a dog. Turns out these dogs, a mixture of a golden retriever and a poodle called a golden doodle. Mm-hmm. They're hypoallergenic, I think is what you call it. Either way, for kids like my oldest, they don't give him hives. We bought a golden doodle. The boys named him. That's why his name is Fred. Don't ask me. They named the dog Fred. He is the biggest, dumbest dog by a mile I've ever had in my entire life. Now, I love him because he's a good guard dog, but he's an idiot. And I love that big, fluffy idiot. I'm going to come home tonight when I'm done, and he's going to come throw himself on me, and I'm going to have to snuggle on the ground with him and all those things. But Fred is so dumb. We'll take him back from walking him, and he doesn't remember to drink water. I don't even know that he knows where his water is. Flies know to drink water when they're hot, not Fred. He has to be reminded that he has to go drink water. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Of course, that would be my dog.
I actually like the name Fred. I'm not typically a fan of naming your pets people names, but I do like that one. What is your biggest fear, Jesse?
Well, we're talking like serious fears or just kind of phobia type things here, Liz?
It's not specified.
I'll tell you what, let's keep it light. As far as phobias go, I'm not a huge fan of heights, but it's not a fear anymore. It used to be a fear, but the Marines kind of beat that out of you, so that's gone. I'm not going to be dancing on the edge of a cliff, but I'm okay with them now, so that's fine. I don't like any situation where I am not my face, but where my shoulders are touching. I know it's a claustrophobia is what I'm trying to say. but it's like a specific kind.
Mm.
We went to Charleston, South Carolina, one of the great cities in the country, and they have a World War II, the Yorktown, they have an aircraft carrier there. Highly recommend anyone do it. But they also have, I think it's a World War II era submarine there. And we want to go, and you can go in these things, or at least you could. This was years ago. And we went down in this submarine, and the wife and the kids are squirting through the submarine and the passageways. And we got to this passageway. I have fairly wide shoulders, and I could not walk straight down the passageway, as how narrow the hall was. I had to turn to the side and kind of squeeze my way through. Now, the wife is there and the kids are there, so I can't look like a wuss. But I'm telling you, by the time I got down to the end of that hall, I wasn't showing it. I didn't want to show it, but my heart was, I swear they could hear it. My heart was about to pound out of my chest. I did not enjoy that at all.
That I can feel secondhand claustrophobia from that. That sounds just terrible. That makes okay. If there was a movie made about you, who would you want to play you in that movie?
I don't know. Probably the guy who played Thor. I would say that probably sounds most like me. The guy who played Thor, or maybe Brad Pitt. Someone along those lines seems pretty. Me and them look basically the same. So I'd probably say somewhere in there.
Okay, Brad Pitt, your next role coming right up for you.
That's right.
Stick by the phone, Brad. Where do you want? This is an interesting question. Where do you want to go that you've never been?
I have the lamest answer for this, Liz. Everywhere. And I haven't done a ton of travel now besides the Marines. And we went to Europe one time, and that was really cool. We went to the Czech Republic and Austria one time. But I love the castles, and I'm such a history freak that I want to see all of it. I want to see every castle. I want to see the World War II bunkers. I've said if we have to do like a dream vacation thing with this, this will obviously never happen. But if I was ever a billionaire, something crazy where money didn't matter at all, what I would do, I really do this, is I would rent this stupid big yacht, and I would get my family and friends, and I get staff, and it'd be staffed and stuff like that, because I have to have somebody making my hot pockets for me. And we would take off across the Pacific, and I would stop at all the major Pacific islands where the Marines and the Army fought in the World War II and the war in the Pacific. And I would have guides set up ahead of time. A lot of these places have guides to give me an actual tour of the island and where the fighting took place and stuff. And I would take 2-3 months going through these islands, seeing all that history. And I know in these places there are still Japanese tanks that they never got out, and they have all these things. I would nerd out on that to no end. I actually had one time, Liz, tell me this isn't some all-time bad luck. This is when I was still selling RVs. But I had a buddy, it's hard to explain. I knew a guy who knew a guy, and they were trying to find a veteran to give away a cruise to. What kind of a cruise? It was a cruise where you had to get to, I think it was the UK, and then there was kind of what I just described, a World War II trip through Europe. It went to Normandy, and then you were going through Churchill's bunker in London and things like that. And I've never been more excited for a trip in my entire life. And the day before we were supposed to fly out of Houston, that was the day Hurricane Harvey hit Houston and shut down our airport for a week, and had to cancel the trip and not go. So whatever. I mean, that's the way life works. But that kind of thing, man, I would just nerd out on stuff like that. I'd be in every castle and every place on the planet. That's where I'd be. That
actually sounds pretty cool. That sounds
well,
like it would be fascinating, but not if you had to crush it into like a couple of days. It would have to be about 3 months. Okay, let me read some of these other questions. We've been getting more questions in. I want to make sure that I've gotten them. This is such a savage question. Okay, Michael from Ohio says, who wins in a fight, AOC's teeth or Ted Cruz's beard?
Oh, that's not right. That's not right at all. I know Ted personally, and the beard, I think it works on Ted, but it doesn't feel like Ted. Does that make sense? Ted is he's probably the most intelligent person I've ever known. He's a nerd, though. He's a gigantic dork by his own admission. He's just a nerd. And so the beard maybe changes that a little. but AOC's teeth are for life. Ted Cruz's beard ain't going to last. I say AOC's teeth. But that said, by the way, AOC is one of the hottest members of Congress by a mile. I realize that maybe some people don't like her grill, but as much as a horrific communist as she is, for a congresswoman, pretty attractive.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I agree. Her politics are poisonous and ugly, but
yeah.
Okay, one more question we're going to do. Let me find so many people wanting to know where you're going to go. Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Florida. Again, I'm not trying to skip your guys' questions, but I am skipping your guys' questions. What's your favorite word, Jesse?
I don't have a favorite word. What am I, 5? My favorite word? Anti-communism.
Oh, nice.
Look at that. Look at that self-promotion.
Nice.
Look at that, baby.
That was professionally done. That's like the perfect segue. Guys, if you haven't already bought a copy of Jesse's book, go to premiercollectibles.com/Jesse Kelly. And I know you can't really see that he's signing, but you know, the control room behind the scenes, every time I harass him about signing, they're like, he actually is signing Lou's book. So you saw the signature. He's proven it. He's sending these out. We've sold out already in the first day, but he's going to be getting a new load and we will send them right out to you. So go to premiercollectibles.com/Jesse. Jesse, your favorite thing, your favorite sentence in the book to close this out. And then, you know, what do you want to say to the people that are tuning in tonight and who bought your book?
My favorite sentence in the book is probably a horrific joke that I put in there that is horrifying everybody when I was trying to do the best I could to add some humor and explain how surrounded your kid is on a college university campus. And I said that they are enveloped like a thong on Lizzo's body. A lot of people have written in horrified while at the same time laughing about that whole thing. So that was probably my favorite line of mine in the book. And that said, I want people to understand that, yes, we're way behind and we have to get a lot more aggressive and we have to change our mentality and we have to start fighting. But this is a battle. Not only can we win, I do believe we will. I do believe we are the good guys. They are the bad guys. So whether you buy the book or not, I'm assuming you did, but whether you buy the book or not, you fight these people like it matters, like your life depends on it, because I promise it does.
Amen to that. All right, guys, go to premiercollectibles.com/Jesse Kelly. Jesse, this was really fun. I'm glad we did this. I really appreciate everybody who signed on and watched this. We appreciate all your guys' questions. We appreciate your support. And we're really, I know I speak for Jesse here too, but we're really proud and happy to be fighting this fight side by side with each and every one of you. We're all in this together. So premiercollectibles.com/Jesse Kelly. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Thank you.
Hey, this is John Acuff, New York Times best-selling author of 7 books and someone who's done a live signing. If you like the one you just watched, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's full of amazing authors having great conversations and signing books for viewers just like you. So make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching today.